Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Samsung Galaxy S25 and compare it against the Google Pixel 8a and see which particular phone is a better one for you. Now, these two phones are slightly different. For the most part, I think the Galaxy S25 does have its, have some tricks up its sleeves that might make it better, but the Pixel 8a is still a very good value. It's going to be bringing a lot of stuff to the table, and it's gone down in value so much now that that'll definitely make it a really interesting device too for the most part as well. So if you want to go and pick up either one of these devices, the links will be down in the description below. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, one of the biggest things to keep in mind here with something like the Google Pixel 8a was that when it first came out, this was one of those devices that was supposed to be kind of like a cheap alternative to the Google Pixel 8. The only problem with this particular device though was that this type of phone, it was just kind of, by the time this phone came out, it was already about the same price as the Pixel 8 in the used market. So it didn't really make a lot of sense to buy this phone, but this device for the most part still looks pretty good. I still think this type of device is still a, good looking phone. You're getting a pretty large display, 6.1 inch OLED display on it. It's 1080p, 2000 nits of brightness and 120 Hz. So it definitely is like a decent type of display. I think it still looks good. And I do think if you are going to pick up a panel, this thing is not a terrible option whatsoever. Now, with the Galaxy S25, this type of phone is definitely giving you a really good styling and a really good type of device. This type of phone is giving you a 6.2 inch dynamic LTPO OLED display. So it's an AMOLED display actually. And that's a really good looking panel at that as well. This is once again in and of itself another really cool advantage of being able to go through and buy one of these types of phones that is basically going to look this good. So this type of phone is going to be giving you that type of capability, which in and of itself is very good. 2600 nits of brightness and 120 Hz. So it's going to be a little bit brighter than something like the Google Pixel 8a. So kind of keep that in mind. But even then, I don't think it's like the biggest deal in the world there. And you're still going to be getting a really good type of, feeling and really good type of looking phone for the most part from that side as well. So I think from that side in and of itself, once again, that's another really cool thing to kind of keep in mind there as well. Both are giving you USB Type-C ports on the bottom, which is great. Flat sides all throughout. On the back side, actually the Pixel 8a is kind of curved a little bit. The Pixel 8a on the back side though has a plastic back on it. It's like a frosted plastic back. Really interesting design choice by Google again. The Galaxy S25 is giving you this frosted glass back. So that is going to be a pretty big advantage for that type of phone. The Galaxy S25 is going to feel much more modern. It's going to look much more modern as well. Whereas in the Google Pixel 8a, it doesn't look terrible, but it definitely doesn't feel as good as something like the Galaxy S25. Triple camera setup on the backside of the Galaxy S25, Pixel 8a dual camera setup. So I will tell you, at least from the exterior, there are some really big advantages of going for something like a Galaxy S25. This is a way better phone. This is way better looking phone too. So you definitely are going to feel like it is a way better phone for the most part. Whereas with something like the Google Pixel 8a, it just doesn't really feel that great. But you have to keep in mind one particular thing. The price tag of the Pixel 8a in the used market on Amazon right now is about $270. That is a very big difference than the $800 that the Galaxy S25 is going for. So you have to kind of think about it in terms of that. The Galaxy S25 is almost it's not quite 3 times the price, but it is almost up there. That is pretty insane. So, and I don't know if the Galaxy S25 is necessarily that much better of a phone. It's definitely better, but for that big of a price difference, that's pretty insane. Brand new prices, they're a little bit, more similar, but at least in the used price dimension, that is kind of a big thing to kind of keep in mind there from that particular perspective. So from that side too, that kind of covers it up as well. Now on top of that, another very big thing to keep in mind here as well is with their cameras. So with the Google Pixel 8a, this type of phone is going to be giving you that dual camera setup. It's going to be a 64 megapixel telephoto lens. 64 megapixel wide angle lens, then a 13 megapixel ultra wide camera. So nothing super crazy there. That's just kind of the run of the mill standard type of camera. The Galaxy S25 is giving you a 50 megapixel wide angle lens. It's also going to be giving you a 10 megapixel telephoto lens, then a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. So that type of layout right there is pretty crazy. Having that type of layout and having that type of camera where it's just going to be, giving you that type of capability is super crazy. But on top of that, the Pixel 8a can film in 4K at 60 on the back and 4K at 30 on the front. The Galaxy S25 can film in 4K at 60 on the front and the back, and it can film at 8K at 30 frames per second on the back side. So that in and of itself is another very big thing to keep in mind there. Being able to go through and pick up these types of phones with that type of capability, I think is genuinely insane. And I do think if you are going to go through and pick up a phone, that is a really big feature, really nice option to have inside of the Galaxy S25. So the Pixel 8a's camera is still decent, but the Galaxy S25's camera is definitely, without a doubt, worth the upgrade when it comes down to it as well. So from that side too, that kind of covers it up there from that side as well. Now on top of that, another very big thing to keep in mind here too is that between both, they're both going to be phones that are going to be supported with software for quite a few years, but the Galaxy S25 is going to last longer, but just by a little bit. Like when it comes down to it, you're still going to be getting like very long lasting phones between both. So that is going to be something that is kind of nice between both these devices. They're both going to be supported for quite a bit of time. They're both going to be, still here for many, many years. So it's not really like that biggest difference in the world. But if you want the longer lasting phone here, it probably is going to be something from like the Galaxy S25. That one has the highest potential of basically lasting the longest amount of time over something like the Google Pixel 8a. Now, on top of that, another very big thing to keep in mind here too is that between both these phones, you have to remember that with the Google Pixel 8a, this type of phone's battery, it's actually pretty decent. It's going to be giving you a 4,492 milliamp-hour battery inside, which is actually going to be bigger than what's inside of the Google Pixel, than what's inside of the Galaxy S25 with a 4,000 milliamp-hour battery. So that is in and of itself going to be another really cool thing going on for that type of device too. And if you're wanting to go through and pick up a device, once again, it's usually a pretty nice thing to be able to go through and pick up these types of devices that are going to be giving you pretty good capability in and of itself. So I'd probably say, even from that side, the Google Pixel 8a might be giving you better type of battery life when it comes down to it, more so than something like the Google Pixel, than something like the Galaxy S25. And then finally, when it comes down to the performance side, this is also going to be one of those types of phones that is going to be a very, very good performing phone between both of these. So with something like the Galaxy S25, that phone is giving you the Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset with 12 gigs of RAM. The Google Pixel 8a is giving you that Tensor G3 chipset inside with 8 gigs of RAM. Now, the thing I can tell you about the performance side of these two phones is that when you do take a look at something like the Google Pixel 8a, the Tensor chipsets were never my cup of tea. They were really never my favorite types of chipsets in general. So I always felt like, Google could be doing a better job there. But even more so than that, one of the bigger things to keep in mind when you're going through and getting these types of devices is that with something like the Samsung Galaxy Samsung Galaxy S25, this type of chipset inside of this type of phone is insane. It's a very good performing chipset. You're going to be getting a really good time inside of that phone as well. So what I would probably tell you to kind of sum up these two phones is that I like both these phones. I think they're very good options. If you're going to go through and pick up a device, you genuinely cannot go wrong with either one of these phones. But I would probably say that the Samsung Galaxy S25 is more of a flagship, and it feels more of like a livelier type of phone than the Google Pixel 8a. I think the 8a is good and it's great for its value, like for its price tag, but the Galaxy S25 is going to be giving you more features and more power and a way better camera, that it does make overall more sense to go and buy a phone like that over something like the Pixel 8a. So from that side too, I think that kind of covers it up for the most part. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that will mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.